Oh my god. Place the right way, Snake.
Okay.
Okay, she should be.
Yes.
Well done.
This is the one, Ash. This is the time.
Nibble. Okay. And again. Where is she going?
And again.
Yeah!
Yes!
Woo! Well done,
We did it!
Stomach.
Lights out!
Oh, I like how you've done this one before, Rob.
Hey!
You know, I'd always, since I was a kid, harbored dreams of working for like a video games magazine, but for some reason I'd never thought it was like a viable possibility. I'd never really explored it. I'd never really done any writing before, so I wasn't really enjoying myself where I was in London. So I thought, why don't I just give this a go and see if this works? And I was playing Final Fantasy 13 at the time. And I remember being really disappointed with it after being really hyped up about it. So I thought, I'll write a review of this because I've got quite strong feelings about this game. So I wrote a review on Final Fantasy 13, and I decided to just, shoot my shot, and I sent it in to Official PlayStation Magazine, and a couple of the other magazines that Future Publishing published, PSM3 Magazine, Games Master. But I figured, sort of when I sent it in, like, so many people like me, kids who love video games, they're probably all going to be sending in their own reviews. They're probably all going to be, trying to get work experience and things like that. So I thought, I've got to try and do something to make myself stand out a bit. So I got my wife, then girlfriend, who was a graphic designer at the time. She helped me make like a mock magazine. So we did like a nicely designed mini magazine with my review in it. She designed like a front cover for it, and I think I did another couple of reviews as well. I did Uncharted 2, which had recently come out, and FIFA 11, I think. And we did like a cover mount, because magazines back in the day used to have like a demo disc cover mount on them. So I was like, I'll do a cover mount, but my cover mount was a Kit Kat. So I put a Kit Kat on the front of this magazine, with like the tagline, "Give me a break," because I thought, that's good. That'll get their attention. They'll have to thank me for the Kit Kat, surely, out of politeness at the very least. So I sent that off, and yes, it got their attention. Luckily for me, my writing was good enough that it got their attention, and I got to do 2 weeks work experience at Official PlayStation Magazine. And at the time, they just launched this video project called First Play, which was like the video version of Official PlayStation Magazine, if you like, and it was the predecessor to what PlayStation Access then became. So I did a week's worth of experience writing on the magazine, and whilst I was there, I let them know that I had video editing experience. And they're like, "Oh, that's interesting. We've just launched this video thing." So I did another week's work experience on First Play, doing like little video edits and things. And I think that's what sort of got me in the door. That sort of mix of skills, being able to video edit and write, was just very sort of appealing to them at that time. So after I did my work experience, I sort of kept on nagging, and eventually they relented and let me do like little 150 word reviews. I think the first game I ever reviewed for like as a paid freelancer was a game called Naughty Bear, and I did a 150 word review of it, got paid £15 for it. And it was like, to me, that was mega exciting, seeing my name in ink in the magazine. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And so I just sort of made sure that everything I wrote freelance was on time, was as good as I could possibly make it. And I became like a reliable freelancer for them. And over the course of the next year, I did bigger and bigger bits of freelance, culminated in me being sent to Sweden to DICE studio for like the worldwide reveal of Battlefield 3, and I got to write like a 4-page feature in Official PlayStation Magazine for that. And I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, this is amazing, this is absolutely amazing. I was so exciting. And at that time, First Play ended and PlayStation Access in its first iteration began, and there was a vacancy for a script writer, and I think because of the work that I'd done over the previous year, and also because I had video editing skills, which was appealing, and it meant I could do extra things, I was offered a job as a staff writer on on PlayStation Access back in 2011. And that's sort of where it began, really. PlayStation Access was like a magazine show for 2 years or so before it became the YouTube channel that it is today. Originally, I was just a script writer behind the scenes, but as like the channel evolved and grew, I did little bits on camera, and that sort of evolved and grew. And I was very lucky to sort of be able to learn all of the skills that I have today in terms of writing, but mainly presenting, because I'd never done any sort of in front of the camera work before. I did it out of necessity because we had little segments of the videos that had to have a person in them. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And it's like quite a unique and lucky position I was in, really, to be in a position where I was able to basically just learn the skills on the job. And that's the rest, I guess, is history pretty much. And it's grown into the channel that it is today. So, there are lots of people who want to get a job in games media and entertainment media. And sort of the advice I always give them is, at the beginning, don't just ask for a job, or don't just show people what you can do. Like, show them a video you've made, show them a review you've written. Make yourself stand out a little bit. But it's a combination of loads of things. You've got to have talent, and you've got to have luck, and you've got to have persistence. And I was very lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And the rest just sort of all fell into place for me.
Yeah, I'm sure the Kit Kat helped quite a lot as well.
I hope so. Yeah. And I also think, like, if I had have liked Final Fantasy 13, would any of that have happened? I don't know. So I often credit Final Fantasy 13. Like, I'm really glad I didn't like it, because I don't know if I would be here today.
You left What Culture and you joined PlayStation Access. What made you change?
I think it was basically just timings. I was interested I love PlayStation Access. It's amazing. It's like, it's been so good working there. And I think it was just time for me to kind of get some new skills, move somewhere new. And I just really love the team, and I really love the channel. And I thought it'd be a great place to go and like bond with everyone. I don't really have like a specific, oh man, this is the reason. It was just kind of, it was a progression point. I'd been at What Culture for a while. It was also my first job in the industry and my first place where I kind of honed my skills. So I wanted to be able to take that and kind of grow it and explore other avenues and kind of knuckle in on gaming as well, because there's a lot to learn and a lot to explore in that medium. And I was really excited to kind of push and go through there a little bit more as well.
If this is right, so you, Nathan and Dave created We Are Reach. How did you three first come together?
We first came together, well, interestingly enough, when I sent off that review of Final Fantasy 13, Nathan was the reviews editor on Official PlayStation Magazine at the time. So he was the person who answered my email and offered me work experience. So that was how I met Nathan, and that was in 2010 that I did my work experience there. And then a year later, it was around summer 2011 that Access started. And I was, as I say, I was doing bits of freelance, so I was already known to that team. Nathan was moved off of Official PlayStation Magazine and onto PlayStation Access. He was sort of heading it up. And because I already had like a working relationship with him, he knew he could trust me, and he knew I had like video editing skills as well. He offered me the scriptwriter's job. At the same time, Future Publishing, which was where we were working at the time, were hiring a couple of video editors, one of which was Dave, and one of which was Dan Wheeler, who you may know from the channel as well. He currently works with We Are Reach. He's our head of studio now. But Dave was hired to work on PlayStation Access, so it was Nath, Dave, and myself, plus a team of 3 others initially at Future Publishing. So that's sort of how we met, and we just were lucky enough to stay with PlayStation Access through the years. It moved from Future Publishing to Yogscast. We worked at Yogscast for 3.5 years. Never really part of like the wider Yogscast network. We sort of just were, we worked in our little space and made PlayStation Access. And it got to a point where we realized, we could probably do this for ourselves. And credit to Yogscast, they were very accommodating with us, and they were like, okay. And they supported us in the creation of our own business, and PlayStation as well. Were also, we're incredibly lucky to have a good working relationship with them, and they were, were good enough to to give us the contract, and so that enabled us to set up We Are Reach in 2017. Since then, we've grown and we've expanded, and we do other bits aside from PlayStation Access that probably aren't as widely known. We do videos for other YouTube channels, but we have extra people who have different teams do that kind of stuff. So Dave and myself and Nath are still very much sort of focused on the PlayStation side of things.
Right.
That's where sort of like our passion is. And I think that's been crucial to the success of PlayStation Access, I think, is that we all are genuine fans of PlayStation. I am a self-confessed PlayStation fanboy. I've owned a PlayStation since I was 12, never owned any other kind of console. It's always been PlayStation for me. So yeah, it's sort of like, we met we've known each other and worked with each other for 11 years now. And yeah, have had We Are Reach for the last 5 years.
What was it like joining through a pandemic? Because that must have been quite different.
Yeah, that was weird. It was really weird. It was it kind of, everything just got like elongated and pushed back for a little while. So like the actual joining process took quite a bit of time, and I didn't meet all of the team for like months because we were working remotely. So I moved from Newcastle, which is where What Culture's based, back home to Wolverhampton, and then got stuck there for 6 months whilst I was trying to find a place in Bath because I just couldn't get down, and the pandemic like inhibited all sorts of moving processes, and I wouldn't have been able to work in the office anyway. So I was stuck in Wolverhampton for 6 months, which was good. It was fine. Like, I was with my family, I was with my cat, which was great. So that was absolutely fine. But yeah, it was, I think without that support network, and if I'd have been living on my own, it would have been really, really difficult. But fortunately, I kind of landed on my feet with being able to kind of have a pit stop and then get to Bath and then be able to kind of pick it up where I left off and meet everyone properly. Because we did some in-person things, like I'd go and travel down and do like a day of filming or whatever. But to be able to work in the office properly was like, it was like angels came down. I was like, oh my God, this is what people are like. I totally forgot. So yeah, that was, it was really strange. It was really, really strange. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't do it again. But I would if it were for Access. So yeah, it was weird but doable. It was manageable. It was just kind of that weird, like, everybody, there's an episode of Community where there's loads of prisoners talking on iPads whilst they're all like, everyone else is like human. That was like me for ages. I was like, hello everyone, I'm here, I promise. So that was my experience of it for a while. So yeah, it's nice to be an actual human again.
I think one thing that I noticed quite a lot when I watched the channel is you seem like a very closely knitted team, but obviously over the years you've had people come and go, Elle and Rosie and Ash. What's it like in maybe those first few weeks when a new team member joins?
It's well, we like to say we're very nice and welcoming and accommodating, and I think we are, and I think we have been incredibly lucky with the people that we've brought on board. You mentioned Elle and Rosie and Ash there. All three of them, when they came on board, it's a long process hiring someone, especially if you're hiring someone who's going to be a visible part of the PlayStation Access team, because as you say, you have to make sure the chemistry is right, because that's, audiences will pick up on that very quickly. Like, the gaming audience is a very savvy audience, and as soon as you're not, if there's any kind of atom of inauthenticity there, they will pick up on it. But we were very lucky with everyone we've hired. I mean, Rosie and Ash are still with us, and I think they're a fantastic part of the team. Elle was a fantastic addition when she was with us. She was with us for a year, and then has moved on to like bigger and better things, and she's now presenting for BAFTA and stuff, which is like amazing to see.
Hello and welcome to the 17th annual British Academy Games Awards from London. I'm your host, Ella Sillywood, and yes, I defeated a robust selection of presenters in combat for the privilege.
I would like to say it's great the first couple of weeks. Obviously there's, Nathan, Dave and I have known each other for a long time, but I don't think, or I wouldn't like to think that ever creates any kind of difficulty in coming on board the team. We are, as you see us on the camera. Oh, shut up, for God's sake! When you watch the channel, that is our genuine relationship. There's very little sort of acting. Well, maybe there's a little bit of hamming it up maybe in a live stream. But if you were ever to come into the office and speak to us, you would speak to the people that you have seen on the channel for all those years. We want to make it feel like a group of friends, basically. So that's always what we've set out to do. And yeah, I think that's one of the things probably I'm most proud of, is that we've managed to achieve that, not just with the people who work on PlayStation Access, but the people who work with We Are Reach on all of the other bits and pieces we do. We are still quite a small business, and it feels like sort of a close-knit family. And that's one of our biggest challenges, I think, going forward as we grow and expand, trying to maintain that sort of culture of collaboration and closeness and honesty.
So you mentioned that the change from What Culture to Access was kind of about exploring different avenues and focus more on gaming. Does it ever feel slightly more restrictive working at Access because it's just gaming you're focusing on, so you can't really explore the kind of film and TV area of media, if that makes sense?
No, I get what you're saying. I think I came from like quite a big umbrella company with What Culture, so there was a lot of freedom to explore different types of mediums for horror, especially for like films, TV, games, books as well. But the thing is, that was always my hobby. So like I still watch horror films, I still read horror books, I still do all of that, and I kind of get to take a step back from it and not look at it as much of an analytical point of view, and just enjoy things being silly. And I've always gamed and always really enjoyed gaming, and it's always kind of been a piece of who I was growing up, especially how what me and my dad bonded over. So to be able to kind of dive into that from a more professional point of view and explore that side of the industry, it's just really exciting. It's really exciting. It's ever shifting and changing and growing. And I think horror as a thing itself is always growing and expanding and moving in different ways. Like it's getting more respected, it's getting more mainstream. Like it's just always getting better. So to be able to be along for it in any aspect is just incredible. I just love my job. I love what I do. I really, really do love what I do. And I really love it with Access because I'm surrounded by these people who all love it and all are teaching me new things, and like I'm learning and growing with them. And I don't miss talking about, all these various things. I feel like the formats are slightly different. Like What Culture was very list oriented because it's a list website, whereas I kind of work a little bit more editorially with Access, so being able to kind of hone in on singular games rather than collate lots of different ones is also really refreshing and a different thing that I get to do. So yeah, they're like, it's like comparing apples and oranges, I think. Like it's like on the surface it's like, oh okay, you don't get to do this, you don't get to do that, but actually I explore things in a much different way, and there's lots of different like aspects of my role that have changed, and how I interact with my job, which is, it kind of changes the whole format of it in that way as well. I feel like I'm like just bumbling words, but
No, I get
it's like it's so different that it doesn't even cross my mind that it is that different,
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like you're not restricted. It's just a different way of exploring it. You still get to enjoy your films and horror.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And because we stream a lot as well, I do get to talk about films and TV and loads of other stuff because we can talk about them. I'm surrounded by people who are like journalists as well, who have like grown up in the games industry, like got their careers through the games industry and working with media outlets. And they all think very like, watching a film's like a sacred experience. Like they're going out and doing these things at Access as well. So I do absolutely get my, chatting about films, having all that sort of thing on streams, and in like some of my more essay-ish videos, I definitely have the freedom to reference other pieces of media. So like the Bug Snacks video I think I went through, which was like me arguing that Bug Snacks was a horror game.
Dearest watchers, hello and welcome. My name is Ash, and I find myself here today burdened with an incredibly serious topic that must be brought to light.
I think I went through and named like, it was like a good 13-ish horror movies that it kind of reminded me of, and had like the freedom to be able to explore the references in that way as well. And I've definitely done it with other stuff, like tying all the threads together to a game. So it's not quite, it's only gaming, it's kind of influences and representation as well.
You're over like 2 million subscribers now. Did you ever think Access would get to that point?
Absolutely not. Like, I don't think we had any. I remember when we first started, when we first took over the channel already existed, but it was sort of like, you know, PlayStation UK, and a few trailers were on there. I think it had about 12,000 subscribers when we took over the channel. And we did amazingly in the first year. We got to 100,000 subscribers. I remember by the end of that year, I think it was 2013 when the channel started, around March time, and PS4 came out November of that year. And that was what sort of, again, luck and being in the right place at the right time. Like, PlayStation went through a huge surge of like popularity and growth. Not that it wasn't popular before, but PS4 was like an incredible success. Like the time when PS4 launched was just an amazingly exciting time. People were so hungry for PlayStation content. YouTube was different back then. You know, YouTube is changes drastically and very quickly, and you have to, you know, there's always like you always have to adapt and change. But yeah, we got to 100,000 subscribers before PS4 came out, and we were like over the moon with that. We're like, I can't believe we've got 100,000 subscribers. This is amazing. And I remember soon after that, we joined Yogscast. I'm sure you've probably heard of Yogscast before. Huge network, multiple channels, multiple millions of subscribers. And I remember joining them and being quite intimidated by the fact that here we are with 100,000 subscribers, and you look down the room and there's, you know, all these other channels that have got 1 million, 2 million. The main channel's got 7 million subscribers. And feeling like a very small fish in a big ocean of very large fish. But our sort of, over the PS4 generation, it was an amazing time of growth. And we were lucky enough that the content that we enjoyed making and that we liked to make resonated with people during that period. You know, I remember being given the task quite early on of, okay, Rob, your job is going to be to make list features. Just make list features every Friday, every week, that sort of celebrate gaming culture, like videos that don't necessarily feel like other list features you might get, that, you know, a celebration of why we enjoy gaming. That was sort of like the brief.
Just read it, please.
Okay. Hello, you've caught me introducing the video. Not a very original intro, but it is a video intro.
And those videos sort of, you know, again, through a mixture of me sort of pouring myself into them, them being sort of as authentic as I could make them, but also just being the right bit of content at the right time, hitting that right audience. They sort of exploded in popularity, and that was like an amazing period for us as well. And so, to answer your question, no, I never thought we would get to 2 million subscribers. Kind of the target of subscribers always sort of moves, right? So we got to 100,000, like, okay, let's get to 200,000. And then we got to 500,000, you're like, oh, could we actually get to 1 million? And then it kept growing, and we got to 1 million. And I think when we got to 1 million, I remember thinking, okay, I'm happy with this. If we never go to 2 million, that's fine. Like, it's amazing that we got to 1 million. And like, quite poetically, we got to 2 million, I think, on PS5 launch day. So it was like a full generational cycle from PS4 launching to PS5 launching. We hit 2 million subscribers, and yeah, it was a bizarre feeling. So no, the short answer is no. I didn't think we would ever hit that number, and it still sort of amazes me that we have, really. And it's something that I and we are very proud of.
Obviously, you stream a lot, like you streamed today. What do you do when you're having a tough day or a tough time, and you're really not feeling it? How do you kind of cope with that?
Ooh, I think, first of all, I'd like to emphasize, like, I have an incredible support network at PlayStation Access, more so than I've ever felt before. And that's not like as any sort of, dig at anything or anyone. It's just like it's just such a compassionate, caring space. And I say that because I haven't really streamed as much before as well. So being in this position where I'm doing a lot more streaming, that obviously that conversation's been had about, like, you know, if you're not feeling it, this, that, and the other. So it's such a compassionate, caring space that I feel like I have friends in. If I am having like a bad day or a bad mental health day or anything like that, it depends on the severity, you know what I mean? Like if I'm just feeling a bit off and you've got a stream, you're like, oh man, like I'm not feeling on today, what can I do? The guys are all there and just like, we just bounce off each other, we just have a little chat, you know, get into it, have a bit of fun. Sometimes they're lower energy, like not every stream is frantic and screaming. Sometimes it's just lower energy because that happens. The whole like being on thing for a stream, and being, you know, like, hey, it's streaming time to entertain. I think it's just I'm an only child in it. I like crave attention at any point. So as soon as the camera's on, I'm like, oh, it's time, let's stream. Normally I'm quite hard to get very mellow. I just enjoy chatting and gaming, and it's just loads of fun. So it's never ever like a bad day, really. But if it is, there's the space for it to be made better. I know, I was being distracted by Rob.
Sausage.
Oh no! Come here, come here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right in the
Yeah, I
sausage.
sausaged you. I sausaged the ball there.
With the bigger following, have you noticed any like perks or drawbacks to that?
Well, I guess the perks are that, you know, lots of people tune into the videos you make, and that's always like really nice to see. I think we've also been very lucky, well, a mixture of luck and careful sort of curation of the kind of community we want to build, like the PlayStation Access comment section and our live stream chat and our community that's sort of grown around the channel is like overwhelmingly a very positive and welcoming place to be, and that's always what we've sort of set out to make it. I know that's not always the case with channels that grow large, but we've, you know, always made a conscious effort to be, you know, as warm and celebratory and as inclusive as we possibly can be. You know, you get lots of YouTube content that's negative around games, or lots of content that goes into the sort of, you know, angry review to this, or why I hate this, or why this is bad. And obviously we're the official channel of PlayStation UK, so that's never going to be something we're doing anyway. But I think even if we weren't official, making sort of a space that's just positive, that's celebratory. We're not there to sort of critique games. We're not there to review games. We're there to enjoy games and show games to people. And if people like those games, great. If they don't have to watch. And if they want to sort of join us and hang out and share in the positivity of the channel, then that's great. I've only experienced perks, which are, you know, getting to interact with like a great group of people in the chat and on the live streams. And when we occasionally do live events, like we've done EGX a couple of times live on stage, when you meet people in person who've like enjoyed your videos, that's sort of like a novelty I don't think will ever wear off when someone comes up to you and says, oh, I really like the work you do. Like, you know, it's an amazing feeling, and one that I don't think I'll ever get bored of.